We've all heard crazy stories about fake pregnancies. Some were fake to deal with unfortunate pregnancy traumas, while others, well, let's take Taylor Renee Parker for example. Taylor is a woman who has dealt with several heartbreaks. All she really wants is love and acceptance from a man, and she'll do anything for it, even if that means cutting a pregnant woman and stealing her baby. Welcome to the Red Lip Lab. But take your shoes off first, please. Thank you. Taylor Parker is no stranger to failed relationships or pregnancy complications. After dealing with preeclampsia, she decides to get her tubes tied. Now, when Taylor wakes up, something ain't right because she got some missing. Turns out, doctors end up finding some additional issues going on with her that need to be fixed. They go to her then husband, Tommy, and they're like, hey, homegirl got a whole lot more issues than we thought. What you want us to do? So Tommy signs off on Taylor getting some of her reproductive organs. And as you can imagine, when Taylor wakes up, she is drove. I mean going off of the rails because now she can't have kids. They end up getting a divorce soon after. That next year, Taylor ends up getting remarried to this guy named Hunter. And by that next summer, they are divorced. But Taylor switch a man out. Parker is at a rodeo one day when she meets a guy named Wade. She ends up catching feelings and she decides that she gonna turn it up a notch. According to witnesses, Taylor becomes obsessed with Wade, even though Wade ain't really feeling her like that. But baby, none of that matters because Taylor is blowing money fast, buying this man a truck, a tractor, promising him bukus of land, and buying his mama a car. She is lathering it on. Wade is coming home to dinner every night, ain't missing no meal. I mean, to be honest, if I were Wade, baby, I probably would have fell for it too because your girl likes to eat, okay? Now, this is where things start to heat up a bit because one night Wade walks in the house and sees a bunch of baby stuff. And he's like, what is this? Taylor tells Wade that she is, and I quote, pretty much pregnant, and that they're having twins. Mind you, they have only been in a relationship for a few months. Anyway, a few weeks pass and Taylor ends up getting into a really bad accident while helping her dad and another man. She tells Wade that one of the twins are hurt, but then turns around and somehow, some way ends up losing both babies. Now, major cringe alert, okay? One day, Taylor texts Wade bringing up the fact that he hasn't kissed her or did anything with her in over a month. She's saying that it's lonely and that intimacy is something that she really needs in a relationship. He used to do it, so she would like that back. He says, I'll pass. No, like he literally says, I'll pass. He claims that he's really not that affectionate. He claims that in between things getting repossessed, checks bouncing, and a bunch of other empty promises, he's starting to get depressed. Now, I think Taylor starts getting a little antsy and anxious because she pops up pregnant again. She's setting up a nursery for the baby, having a photo shoot, a gender reveal party, plans on naming the baby Clancy Gale. I mean, girl is on it, but she can't be pregnant without a baby bump, right? So she orders one. One silicone moon belly, and throw in some fake ultrasounds too. And for the grand finale, an actual baby. In 2019, a woman by the name of Reagan Hancock is looking for a wedding photographer. Someone a little budget friendly, if possible. So Reagan's friend ends up recommending Taylor. Reagan and Taylor end up hitting it off and becoming real good friends. Now to Reagan, I'm pretty sure that she saw their friendship as something pure and safe, maybe even like a sisterhood. But little did she know, she had something that could really solidify Taylor's new relationship. She had something that Taylor craved but couldn't have, a baby. Now Taylor is going around telling people that her due date is in September. But September comes and there ain't no baby. At this point, Taylor's got to come up with a decoy. And not too much longer does Wade's house catch on fire. And oddly enough, the hospital where she's supposed to deliver this baby gets a threat. Taylor blames both incidents on her crazy mama and tells Wade that she wants to drive to Idabel, Oklahoma to have the baby just to be safe. 4 days later, Wade goes to drop off some hogs and Taylor is supposed to go with him. The plan is to wake up at the crack of dawn, go sell these hogs, then slide by Idabel to have the baby. But the morning of, Taylor tells Wade that she's been up cramping all night, so she can't go. She'll just meet him at the hospital later on. No biggie. Now this is where the story starts to take an extremely dark turn, because instead of Taylor driving over to the hospital, she drives over to Reagan's house. And remember, Reagan is pregnant. While in the house, Taylor viciously attacks Reagan. And look, I'm not going to go too far into detail because this case does involve a child and I can be a little sensitive when it comes to that kind of stuff. So if you want to know all those details, the internet is your best friend. But I will say this. Taylor showed Reagan not even an ounce of remorse. According to medical examiner Dr. Melinda Flores, Reagan suffered from 113 force injuries and 39 force injuries. Once Reagan was no longer here, Taylor performs a C-section and the baby. And just when you think that this story cannot get any more disturbing, Taylor allegedly holds the baby up to Reagan, again while Reagan is gone, and tells the baby to tell her mom goodbye. And she does all of this while Reagan's 3-year-old is in the other room hiding underneath a blanket. Taylor begins driving over to Idabel with this baby, and 30 minutes later, guess who is getting pulled over? I love this song. She ends up getting pulled over by a trooper because she's driving crazy. He sees the umbilical cord and then he sees the baby. Taylor tells him that while she was driving, her water broke and the baby just came out. But the police officer doesn't believe her because he knows that whenever a woman gives birth, it can get a little messy, but the inside of Taylor's car is spotless. And in the documentary Maternal Instinct, you can tell by their tone of voice that the paramedics don't even believe her. Taylor is taken to a nearby hospital and is questioned by police. She is acting so clueless, claiming that that is her baby. But once again, nobody believes her, not even the doctor. And by now, they're not letting her leave that hospital. They take her into the police station, and in her interview, she says that while she's giving Reagan the Reagan wants her to take this baby out because the pain is so unbearable during this process. She eventually cracks and ends up admitting to attacking Reagan and stealing the baby. 2 years later, Taylor is convicted of capital murder and is sentenced to death. She's currently the youngest woman in Texas on death row, and she's being held at the Patrick O'Daniel unit about 45 minutes away from Waco, Texas. And y'all, I just found out that Yolanda Saldivar, the woman who killed Selena, is also being held here. Now, this specific facility is pretty unique because it's the only facility in Texas that's also housing the other 6 women on death row in Texas. This story is making some major headlines. Again, Netflix just released a documentary called Maternal Instinct. Now, with all of this buzz centered around Taylor, we have to remember to ultimately refocus our attention on the victim. In this case, Reagan and her baby Braxlyn. According to her mom, Reagan was as sweet as sugar one minute and all attitude the next. She was known for taking charge and being the bossier sibling, leaving all types of notes, snitching on her sisters and brother. And look, we have all been there before, okay? Reagan took so much pride in being a mom. When Reagan first got pregnant at the age of 17, she was a little nervous at first, but realized her own strength and looked forward to the journey of being a mom. Braxlyn, her baby, would have been the perfect little sister. Probably would have been snitching too. But nevertheless, she would have been perfect. We send our condolences to everybody that was affected, and may Reagan and baby Braxlyn both rest in peace.